Hey, it's Spence from WPLaunchClub.com with your WordPress tip of the day. In this video, I want to let you know that I'm doing a special workshop this Friday with Jonathan Denwood as part of a regular Friday series where I'm going to give you sales funnel building tips for WordPress. Now, the inspiration for this is the fact that many of you have seen those ClickFunnels Russell Brunson type of ads. In fact, here's one today. Many of you have asked, Spence, is it not possible just to use WordPress along with the other components like LaunchFlows, my favorite page builder, Gutenberg, and more, to do exactly the same, if not more, than ClickFunnels? And the answer is, why, actually it is. In fact, in this way, you will own it and control it for yourself or your clients. And using a very small stack of tools, plus some basic design tips, we can get you a long way. This Friday, I'm going to start with one of the most basic components, and I'm going to show you a preview of that here. This is one of the buttons that's in ClickFunnels. Now, there's nothing magical about it. It's just simply a modal window that opens up an email lead form. Now, we can do this directly with WordPress using a few key components. And let me give you a quick example of what I've got here. I'm using the Kadence Blocks along with the Cadence theme, but the Kadence Blocks has a modal window in it as an optional block. This can also be done with a free plugin, the Modal Blocks plugin, but it has the same result. Here I'm giving you two examples. To try to be literally exactly as they've got it, I put in 2 lines of text along with the icon. And I'm also showing you a default button that comes with the modal. So either one of these will trigger exactly the same response. And here I'm using the Fluent Forms as a way to take the actual input from the person. And from there, what we'll talk about on Friday is what you do with this lead. In other words, do you make them a contact in your CRM? Do you send them a response and so forth? But what I'm really going to go over is the fact that using either of these two mechanisms, you can trigger the exact same kind of thing using off-the-shelf components. Here's a quick sneak peek of what I set up. First of all, I used Fluent Forms to create an email form. This will connect to either our WordPress users or to our CRM. CRM is more logical when you're using this for a lead magnet because you don't know yet whether you need the person to be a user. But what is nice is there is an option to also create a user and log them in if you feel it's useful for, let's say, selling them an upsell, like a membership. When I created this, I styled it and I used the built-in custom button so that the form itself would have the same inner button style as the one here from ClickFunnels. Next, I went ahead and created a Gutenberg page, and I happened to select Cadence as the theme, so I went with a normal boxed layout and I disabled the title. You could obviously do whatever layout you want. Next, I went ahead and I set up the default modal Cadence block. This is where I got that first button. Now, the settings for this are really nice, and I'd say for almost 99% of the time, a 1 line of text is perfectly fine. But in order to achieve the really exact pixel for pixel of what they were doing at ClickFunnels, I wanted to show you the alternative. The Cadence modal block gives the alternative to allow for a remote trigger. So here I just created a new section and I set that up with an internal row. There I added 2 things. I added, first of all, the top line section. And the reason that I did it that way was that enabled me, using the styling capability of Gutenberg blocks, to create the row of heading text plus the icon. And I was also able to achieve the font and the other spacing requirements. You'll see here in the section, on the left side I've got the icon, and on the right side I've got the default heading. Next, I added a second line of text using just an ordinary paragraph, and then I styled that so that the color and the font size was slightly different, just like they did on ClickFunnels. You'll notice in the section that Cadence gives me this nice flex alignment capability for horizontal layout, and that's what enabled me to center everything and get the spacing and the padding. I'll go over this on the free workshop on Friday. Now, the remote trigger requires me to add an overlay link so that this particular entire button section gives the clicking of the main modal. And to do that, if you scroll down, you'll see that we set this up so it has down here, advanced. The modal trigger is the name of the advanced CSS class. So whenever somebody clicks on this, that's going to trigger the code of the regular modal block. Now, what I would probably do, of course, is I would hide the original Modal block link. And when I click on the link settings, I can just do that here by turning that off. And the last thing you would need to do is also set up the Modal link itself so that it has the name you want to use for this button. So Open Modal is what I called this remote button. And over here, when I go over to my advanced, you can see, where did I put that? I put that over here in the link, overlay link. I named the ID Open Modal. So effectively, this was given instructions that if anybody clicked the section or other button with the Open Modal ID, that would trigger this particular thing to work. And that's basically what I've got. So let's take one last look at it. There's a lot of styling aesthetics here, but it's really not that complicated. Now, the real neat thing about this is that not only do I have this component, but I'm going to give this to you ready to use. So I'm going to save this entire thing, and it'll be available over probably in our patterns.launchflows, or it'll be available if you want as a download in exchange for you to join the Launch Club. The WP Launch Club is free, and I'm doing all these I'm doing all these things to try to show you how easy it is to build powerful sales funnels for marketing automation, membership, and more using this small stack of things. So for example, using WP Fusion, using LaunchFlows, using Kadence Blocks, using Gutenberg, other components, I give you the tutorials that show you that you can do everything plus own it, control it right there inside of WordPress instead of having to pay, for example, $300 a month or more just for, an okay CMS. WordPress has everything you need, so there's really no need to pay for an outside service. And if you do this for your clients, by giving you these patterns ready to use, as well as these components, we can make that easy for you to build anything. So what I would do in this case is I would just typically go over to the three buttons, and I would copy all the content. You'll notice if I was to be, let's say, pretending that I'm you, I could go over here, add a new page. Let's just do that here. And I could just paste in the very same pattern that I just copied. So if I were to be pretending that I'm you and I pasted it, ta-da, it's ready to go. Now there may be some other things that you want to set up with your own customizing and obviously the links and what the copy says, but you're 99.9% of the way there just for the fact that you copied and pasted it from a ready-made pattern. And this, I think, is one of the most powerful reasons why you should attend on Friday and then join the Launch Club, is that I'm going to be demonstrating for you that really, yes, Elementor and Divi and other page builders are awesome, but for the sheer ease of use and the speed of doing amazing stuff, when you combine this with LaunchFlows, WooCommerce, and the other automation capabilities that we have, say, from WP Fusion, Fluent CRM, all the toys, all the tools are in a very small stack ready for you to use and do powerful stuff with. So I hope you'll join us. There should be a link where you see this video so you can get over to where we're going to be giving this presentation. And then the replay, of course, will be available here, as well as the free download from what we're actually building in exchange for you joining the Launch Club for free. This is Spence. I'll see you in the next video.